all about information, education, and entertainment.
Maybe that's before now. Solutions 93.9 FM has raised the standard of radio broadcast to preferring solutions in all human angles. 939 FM, the remedy.
Stay ahead of the curve and get updates on the latest trends in politics, government, policies, education, economy, social development, amongst others.
We're happy to announce today that both the federal government and the organized labor have agreed on an increase on the 62,000 naira minimum wage.
Join
Ayodeji Ajishope
and
Adedamola Lafenwa
on from the Dailies every weekday from 9:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on Solutions 93.9 FM as they dive into the headlines with in-depth analysis and feedback from you on different stories from the national dailies. Start your day by gaining fresh perspectives, uncovering the story behind the story, and join the conversation. Because your voice matters. From the dailies, the conversation never stops.
Studio time check 935 on 939 Solutions FM. It's another wonderful time to be together on From the Dailies on Solutions 93.9 FM, where we get to take you through the front pages of our newspapers. And of course, it is the midweek edition for the program. My name is Adedamola Lafenwa, and with me in the studio, live in the studio with me, is Comrade Ayodeji Ajishope. A beautiful morning to you, Comrade Ayodeji Ajishope.
Yes, thank God it's another beautiful morning in this sprawling city of Ibadan.
Okay, and we have about 5 newspapers this morning. I mean, one thing never ceases to amuse me. That is, it has become one day, one drama when it comes to Nigeria. I mean, we were on the program together yesterday. Little did we know that there would be another drama that will happen in the course of the day, which has been taken center stage on virtually all the papers this morning. What am I talking about is the drama, the war of words between Senator Onwemboyi and Obiageli Ezekwesili. We'll talk about that in the course of the program. Let's look at the papers one after the other. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune this beautiful Wednesday morning, the biggest story says INEC picks holes in Natasha's recall petition, and rider Senator Onwemboyi Ezekwesili in war of words at Senate committee. And the second rider says a judge withdraws from Natasha's suit against Akpabio others. Away from that, now let's go to Rivers State. Labour threatens action if Rivers emergency rule is not reversed. And away from that too, federal character, Senate probes compliance of MDAs in recruitment others. Afenifere faults a declaration of emergency rule in Rivers. And another one, Kaduna train attack, Tukur Mahmoud's trial suffers setback. And this is coming from Oyo State. We will enforce anti-grazing law in Oyo police. Okay, let's move away from the Nigerian Tribune now. Taking a look at the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, bid to bomb another pipeline in Rivers foiled. And riders under that vow to protect critical infrastructures in state. NLC, TUC in Rivers threatens strike if emergency rules not reversed. Court asked to sack Rivers sole administrator, Ibas. Tinubu AGF 36 states listed as defendants. Rivers sole administrator appoints SSG as head of service resigns. Interesting. Tinubu NAS desecrated 1999 constitution. Ferry. Page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper has that story. Failed democracy. Presidency tackles Obi others. Away from that suspension, George hands off Natasha's case, cites Akpabio's petition. Again, General Hydrocarbons Limited floors First Bank in court. Boko Haram raids 2 military formations in Borno. I mean, it is the audacity for me. Boko Haram raiding 2 military formations in Borno. I mean, going to meet them.
Yeah. And they raided.
It is the audacity,
and killed Cameroonian
the confidence,
troops
the
too.
bravery.
It was on BBC yesterday. Big report.
Now, if this insurgents, this groups go straight for military formations, then how safe are we, ordinary citizens?
Well, that tells the story.
Now let's take a look at the front page of the Guardian newspaper now. Mixed reactions trail proposal to hold general elections in one day. And another one, Minister unveils 5 million jobs initiative for youths. FG begins crackdown on irregular migrants. August 1. Appeal Court stays action on Bayero-Sanusi tussle. Returns parties to Supreme Court. Article rally support for new political movement to unseat Tinubu. Natasha, petitioners yet to meet.
Did you hear that? What? To unseat Tinubu, not to save Nigerians.
Well, they have said it many times that in order to save Nigeria, they need to unseat Tinubu. So indirectly, it's to save Nigeria, according to them. Okay, Natasha, petitioners yet to meet requirements for recall, says INEC. APC PDP LP spent 13.4 billion naira on campaigns during Edo Ondo Guber polls. Organized labor threatens nationwide strike over Rivers political crisis. Okay. Now, the final newspaper I have with me is the Punch newspaper, and the biggest story on the front page of the Punch newspaper says sexual harassment hearing. Senators Ezekwesili clash. INEC faults Natasha's recall process. And Ryder, ex-minister slams Senate over bias in sexual harassment case. Hearing adjourned indefinitely. CBN plans fresh battle against forex speculators as Naira slides. Discos rake in 509 billion naira amidst serial greed collapses. That's a good one, actually. Still making money despite the series of greed collapses. That means Nigerians have been paying for darkness. Interesting. Now, Zimbabwe dim Eagles World Cup hope after Uyo stalemate. Okay, and the last one, dollar for petrol. Marketers protest Dangote export fuel to U.S. Others.
Why? How do they mean? The man is in business.
He's in business, actually.
They know how many billions of dollars the man borrowed.
Definitely, to secure.
Are they going to help him pay?
To put up that refinery.
I hope we're going to talk about this issue of PMS and the stuff.
Definitely. Time will come
because there is a revelation regarding that swap.
Okay.
For Naira.
Okay. 9:42 on Solutions 939 FM from the Dailies. Let's go straight to the business of the day. Comrade Adeja Jope, it's time for us to swing into action. I don't even know where to start from now.
Just start from somewhere.
But we did say yesterday, that we'll start from Natasha's recall process. Now, yesterday we started that discussion on the process involved in Natasha's recall, and this has been championed by a lady. I said I ran a check on her identity, and I found out that her name is Honorable Charity Ijese Omole, who's a senior special assistant to Governor Ahmed Usman Ododo, the governor of Kogi State. Maybe we'll have to take that again. She was at INEC office to present the petition against Senator Natasha, to kick off the recall process. Let's go over it again.
We came to submit a petition against our distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan for loss of confidence. The entire Kogi Central people have lost confidence in her because of her gross misconduct in the National Assembly during a plenary session. That led us to a 6-month suspension where Kogi Central will not be represented at the National Assembly, the Senate arm. So I've come to recall her back so that we can have a representative in the Senate, because as a people, we cannot afford not to have a representative in the Senate arm for another 1 year. So we are here to tell INEC to please follow the constitutional process for our recall so that our recall process can begin. That's why we're here.
Okay, that was the voice of Honorable Charity Ijese Omole, the Senior Special Assistant to Governor Ahmed Ododo. I kept on mentioning that so that it will be clear to everyone listening where this is coming from. Okay, she was at the INEC office to submit the petition for the recall of Senator Natasha. But we said it yesterday that there are some processes, there are some steps that need to be taken. Let's take a listen at some of the processes needed to be taken to recall a senator.
The process of recalling a senator or any other elected member of the legislature in Nigeria is a constitutional procedure. And the Constitution in Section 69 stipulates the process and procedures to be followed. And the first thing to be done is for about one and a half of the members of that constituency to sign a petition stating their name from the ward, from the polling units to the ward to the local government that makes up the constituency of the legislature. And that petition is submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission. And from there, the Independent National Electoral Commission now goes ahead to verify the signatories and the names vis-a-vis where those names originated from. I said earlier on the polling units, the ward, the local government that makes up, the constituency. And after verifying that, the INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, now writes to the senator informing her of a petition seeking a recall. And within 90 days, if the INEC now goes back to carry out an audit, if they are able to get half of that members of our constituency, signifying through a referendum of yes or no, signifying that they want a recall, then the Independent National Electoral Commission will go and conduct that referendum, and the outcome of that referendum will be submitted to the President of the Senate. If more than half of the constituents now say they have lost confidence in her to represent them, then it means that the process of recalling her has been successful, and the Senate President will now declare his or her seat vacant. But if they are unable to muster that population required according to the Constitution, then the recall process will become dead.
Now, looking at the processes involved in recalling a senator from the National Assembly, has been stated by Mr. Nelson Ekujumi, the public affairs analyst. And this lady that is championing this recall process claimed that they've been able to gather about 250 signatures. I mean, okay, but now in the news, they said INEC has started picking holes in this entire process.
You see, I could have jumped to the end of the whole matter. You had the man. Half of the constituents. Now, what was the half of the constituent means half of the registered voters? Just go and check how many people voted during the last election. What percentage do they constitute of registered voters in that senatorial district? I'm sure they are not up to 50% of constituents. Constituent means registered voters. So if you did not get 50% of the voters in an election, so where are you going to get your 50% from?
Okay, now let's.
And I mean 50% of registered voters that voted for all the candidates, not just Natasha alone.
Okay.
Then preceding that, you get signatures. They will do verification. INEC will do verification. They have not even gone out to. They are just checking the documents they submitted. They have not gone out. They are just checking the documents that they submitted. They're already picking holes in it.
But they are already, even before INEC came to the fact that they will have to verify the signatures, we've seen some clips, some videos of people saying that those signatures were gathered in a shady manner. I played a particular clip yesterday when some people said that they were lured to the venue.
Let's listen
to that. That they were lured to the venue in the name of they should come for an empowerment program. But when they got there, they were being asked to fill some forms and submit their
let's listen to them. And then in one sentence, I'll just tell you.
Okay, let's listen to those people now.
Empowerment. So we are here for an empowerment. We are just have to be here for an empowerment. And we are given an instruction to come with our voters card. So that was the instruction given to me.
Early morning, this early morning, we were informed that we should come for an empowerment. When we get to the field, we are asked to bring our voters card and the VIN, the number there. So we now ask why, because we heard that we should come for the empowerment. So they gave us a form to fill. You fill with your VIN and pen your signature. Then most of us will refuse that we cannot do that because we don't know that an empowerment can be done in this way. So we now left the field. We don't know that there is an issue of record. So we left. Everybody left the field.
I call it to be a mess because nobody was aware of it at all. They took people to the collaboration center, deceiving them of doing empowerment, and when many of them, majority of them, get to know that what they want to do is not a normal thing. So all of them, they left. So I see it as a mess, and I know that they cannot do anything about that. They are just doing what people were not in support of. Because I myself, I was not in support of it. Even majority of people in local government were not in support of it. In fact, that woman has done a lot of things. He has done more than what others people have not done before. Other Senate, we have not even benefit of what they are going to the house to do before. But now that we know we have a Senate,
these are the voices of some of the members of Natasha's constituent saying that they were not aware, they were not told, they were lured to that place, to the venue, in the name of coming for an empowerment program, but they were being given forms to fill. But let's take a listen before I get your contribution, comrade. The lawyer, one of the counsels of Senator Natasha, speaking on this entire recall process.
In the news, like you said, about the recall. If you heard the young lady that spoke, she said she's from Consigned Kogi Youth and Women. I don't know what that is. I am the lawyer. I'm one of the lawyers to Natasha, and we've been interrogating the process. We know what the recall process is under the Constitution, Section 69, and the INEC guidelines. She said she's representing Kogi youths and women. I don't know what that is. The persons who have the legal right to recall is our constituency. In this case, Kogi Central. She has not been able to tell us if she belongs to the 5 local governments that constitute Kogi Central. Now, she has not told us who are those people who voted, are they the registered voters? In the process of recall under the INEC rules and regulation, the names of the person who should sign for the petition should be polling unit by polling unit. Question is, when were those persons, where were those signatures collected out of the over 800 polling units within the over 1,200 polling units within the 5 local governments that made up Kogi Central? And we've seen social media reports, which we are looking at to see where we noticed and we saw some group of persons inside one room trying to write names, and I think that is what they have just done and brought up to say that they have gotten 250,000 names. We have personally written to the chairman of INEC complaining of allegation of forgery against the said petition. Now, INEC has the constitutional right under Section 69 to verify the signatures in that petition. However, as person who is concerned about the rumor and the stories connecting the signature that they have received, as a citizen, as somebody who is concerned about the process shouldn't be fraudulent. When you see people sitting somewhere, writing names, putting signatures, that is a clear case of forgery. So it is duty for me to notify INEC, and so we'll take it further. We are going to, by tomorrow, we will send the petition to the Commissioner of Police, Kogi State, to verify, to investigate how those, because that is because the issue of forgery is a crime, and it is duty of the police to investigate crime. While INEC has their constitutional duty to verify those petitions as provided under Section 69. So if you look at it, it looks as if there is a script somewhere. And like I said in one of these programs, it's a melodrama. And I want to see how it plays out. But one thing we are sure of, that this process cannot be completed.
Now, that is one of the lawyers of Senator Natasha talking about the entire recall process being shady, and I like the way he said that there is a script somewhere that all these actors are playing to, and that reminds me of what we talked about yesterday about democracy in Africa. That there's nothing wrong with democracy being done in Africa, but it is the actors not playing by the rules.
No, they won't play by the rules.
This seems to be one of shortcuts.
This one is I'll just call it a political project. Look, somebody will just say, look, what can we do out of this? Let's initiate a recall. And since, Yaya Bello was against this woman, you will all recall what all she did, and then they say, let's jumpstart it again. You understand? And since Ododo is a boy, appendage of Yaya Bello.
In fact, some people call Yaya Bello the senior governor.
So they will just say, and okay, it's a project, and they will bring estimates of cost, and we're going to give everybody 10,000 or 20,000. We're going to do this. Do you think they wouldn't have budgeted like 100 million for this, and then they will spend 5 million and pocket the rest? How are you going to verify? How are you going to cross-check what they're doing? They said they've got 250,000 signatures. If they said they were going to give each person 20,000, you can now multiply 250 signatures by 20,000. That is how much they are pocketed. Then they will pocket some money for logistics, and then they will say, this is not 100 million transaction. This will be like 200 million, 250 million, even 500 million transactions. At least this first phase of signature will have costs in quotes 250 million. So people are cashing out. It's a project just for people to make some money. It's not as if.
Now, do you see this recall process scaling through, as in getting Natasha out of that red chamber?
you know the funny thing? It will be counterproductive. People should, they are just popularizing the woman. The next thing we're going to hear is that she either is going to return to the Senate in 2027 or she's going to be governor. Just wait and see.
Okay. Well, Natasha is still in the news this morning. She's
strong and she's a local girl. Incidentally, in spite of her female fragile looks, the father raised her in their village. And when she got there, she spoke their language. You wouldn't think she would speak.
Because after this recall process, she went back to her village
and she was met by a massive crowd. And addressed them in their...
Like one of the ladies that spoke on that clip saying that they've been having senators in the past, but they've never had a senator so good as Senator Natasha because she gives them a sense of belonging.
Don't forget, she didn't get into the Senate immediately. She had to go to court. And it is less than 2 years. That means she has spent only about 1 year in the Senate.
And she's been able to win the hearts
of the people,
of our constituents. Okay, let's talk about another story that has to do with Natasha. There's this, it has become a viral video, actually. It has been going around talking about the war of words between Obi Ezekwesili, former minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and a sitting senator who happens to be the deputy chief whip of the Senate, that is Senator Owemboy. Let's take a listen at what played out before we talked about the whole thing.
But you can't respect yourself. Will you shut up and take him out? Smell him out. Smell him out. Look like a dog. Look at you. Big fool. Fool at 70. Fool at 70. How can you talk like that? Have I been a senator?
I take exception
What do you mean?
A senator.
Why are you talking to me like that?
You are a disgrace to the Senate.
You are an insult to womanhood.
You are
an insult to womanhood. And you are here to tell the world that you have not changed.
You cannot violate
You are here to tell the world that you have not changed.
You are.
At 70, you have not changed.
You are a scoundrel.
I'm expecting to take it. I will not take it.
A scoundrel.
I will not take it.
So insult.
That is why you can never be here. People like you can never be here. People like you can never be here. How can you be? How can you be a fool?
I'm not a hooligan.
You are a hooligan.
You are a hooligan. So you will be.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
The Senate committee
chairman of the committee. Chairman of the committee.
And you say I should keep my mouth shut. Who are you to say so?
Chairman.
Who are you to say so?
Chairman.
Who are you?
Okay, officer.
And you refuse.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Chairman, sir. Mr. Chairman, sir. Mr. Chairman, sir.
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Chairman of the committee.
Mr. Chairman.
Chairman of the committee. Chairman of the committee. Chairman of the committee. Hello. Chairman of the committee. Hello. Chairman of the committee. My distinguished colleagues and the petitioner and those who came to defend the petition. I am Senator Dicket Plan. I move a motion that we adjourn this meeting because...
Okay, personally, I would like to call that a very huge show of shame coming from two adult and highly revered individuals, talking about the Senator Owemboy, who is the Deputy Chief Whip at the Senate, and Obi Ezekwesili. What played out yesterday?
Well, everything that you saw, we all saw play out there. I mean, everything was premeditated, you understand?
Premeditated? What do you mean by premeditated?
Yeah, the two sides, I mean, now, the very first thing that drew my attention was the sitting arrangement. Why would the members of the committee sit so close to petitioners, you understand? Sitting between Obi Ezekwesili and that senator was a lawyer. A lawyer, a special assistant or something, a
You're
consultant.
talking about Nwoye.
No, Nwoye. You know there was somebody in grey, whatever, French suit that was doing like this to that senator. He's a consultant to the Senate president, a legal consultant. So thank God that he was even in between them. Only God knows whether fiscals will have. You see, the first thing that happened was that the man that signed the petition, did you see him? Did you watch him? The man was utterly incompetent. He could not even read a prepared script. You saw it?
I saw it.
It was, I think, with the one woman next to him that was trying to correct him. So how will you allow an incompetent, incoherent individual to sign your petition? The least that could have happened is it must have been a lawyer. You understand? And the man said he had lost confidence in all members in the entire committee. And he was being asked, what specifically is the issue? And even for him to get around to say, Neda Imaswen, the chairman of the committee, I mean, the whole world knows that the man held the committee and said the petition was dead on arrival. And they said, okay, he said, they asked him, where is the evidence that the man said that? You were coming there, you did not prepare YouTube, everywhere, all platforms, radio, newspaper, And that one became a difficult assignment for him. Well, and Imaswen himself, do you see Imaswen? He was banging the gavel. I said, how many times? Who bangs the gavel like that, as if you are drumming? And then the exchange between Obi Ezekwesili and Nama. You see? Obi Ezekwesili is coming from quite some distance compared to that fellow. Obi Ezekwesili threw a bit. Obi Ezekwesili shut up.
Because Obi Ezekwesili was on a live TV last night and she admitted that she was the first to tell the man, shut up.
Shebi, it was a bit. If you ask me to shut up, I will ask you why. I'm not going to jump into a fit of rage. If you say shut up, I say, why?
But the man,
I have a right to speak, shut up.
Senator Nwoye, also on a live TV last night, said that he reacted because being the senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is higher in all levels you can think of than Obi Ezekwesili to talk down.
He said that.
He said it on live TV.
I make bold to say that is stupidity of at the highest level.
I just can't really place my hand on that particular
That's silly.
Now. But he said it that as a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I am higher than Obi Ezekwesili in all forms.
I make bold to say, and I repeat, that is stupidity at the highest level. I went to check the man's profile. He's a lawyer. Higher than Obi Ezekwesili. In what? Number one, let's start with age. Number two, Obi Ezekwesili, in 1920, what was it, 90 something? She was already vice president of the World Bank.
The presenter of that program reminded the senator that this woman you're talking about, was a minister, federal minister, and was in the.
Where was the guy? Where was the guy in 1999? Where was he? In 1999, where was he? He was probably, most probably, in university. You see, these people that purport to lead us, the people we elected to serve us, he openly said he is higher than Obi Ezekwesili by any means.
So, peradventure, if he's higher than Obi Ezekwesili, they are higher than all we, the electorate, that voted them.
Certainly. If somebody
he made it on a
Obi Ezekwesili is old enough to be his mother.
He later admitted in the latter part of the program that though Obi Ezekwesili is older enough to be his mother.
Oh, really?
He said it.
So, this is the way he would treat his mother. He called the woman a whore.
Yeah. All that in.
And interestingly, the woman called me. That one amused me. The woman called him a scoundrel.
And he said, you can't be here. And the lady said, I can never be here because this is a gathering of hooligans.
Yes. Why was he behaving like that? Why could you say you are higher than Obi Ezekwesili in Nigeria's public space?
Does it not reflect how our purported leaders view we Nigerians?
Yesterday, I think I sent the clip to you. I saw the Senate president. He was coming out from a gathering, and he was being taken to. He was being.
Yeah, I saw the video.
And a security detail was, adjusting his robe. I felt depressed. And that's not the first day. I saw one ADS with his federal assault weapon, went on his and almost crouched to meet a governor. What's wrong with us? You see, something is very, very wrong with us. So that is why people equate themselves with the office they occupy.
Now, another angle that really baffles me is in the last 2 months now, we see how some of our politicians have treated ladies. Let's talk about Mijisola Miranda in Lagos State, to Natasha's issue, now to Obi Ezekwesili.
Dino Melaye said he was going to impregnate Remi Tinubu.
I remember, I stumbled on that particular clip in one of my library. He said it at the floor of the Senate.
And another
when person, shout out, say, I will impregnate you.
Another one slapped Anishulo, Senator Anishulo.
Now, it tells a lot about how our ladies are being viewed, the women folk are being viewed in politics. Is this not going to be a kind of a discouragement for the women?
It is a cultural thing, Damola.
When is this supposed to change?
Until 2 years ago that a judgment was given in inheritance in the Southeast. Culturally, the female child in the Southeast Igbo land of Nigeria is not entitled to inheritance.
By culture.
Yes. That means you are nothing. Nothing. You are not entitled to it. Until 2 years ago, that there was a judgment. Who on earth told you that? It's a cultural thing. But me, I have only female siblings. My own attitude is, my own attitude is, look, for me, we should not even, so my own attitude is different to all of that. We think women are a plaything.
But you've not answered my question.
That what?
That is it not going to be a kind of dent? Are we going to fold our arms and watch this happen? These unfold.
It's
in the space of 2 months now. Look at the number of women that have gone through this.
In our homes.
Mijisola Miranda.
Damola.
I'm even talking
How
about
are you raising your home? Okay, with a female child. We pay attention to the female child. And we are not training the male child how to honor, respect, and treat the female child. We're concentrating on, proper raising of the female child. We're not concentrating on raising the male child. Let me share with you. One day, about 2000 and, was it 2000? It cannot even be 2000, the 90s. My sister's house, on a Saturday morning, my sister was in the kitchen. Somehow, the daughter, 2-year-old daughter, drifted to the kitchen. Then, that boy and myself and the father, we were in the living room, of course, newspaper. And then somehow the father drifted to the kitchen. I drifted to the kitchen. It was only the boy, maybe about 5 years old. He was alone. And then he found himself alone in the kitchen. And he came to us, all of us in the kitchen. And he said, Daddy, Uncle Deji, let us go to the sitting room. I'm quoting him, and be reading newspaper. That we should leave his mother and the daughter and the sister. That we men, 5-year-old boy.
As the office of the ladies.
And 5-year-old boy say, Uncle, Daddy, Uncle Deji, let's go to the sitting room and be reading newspaper.
As young as he was, he knew that place was not meant for males, which was wrong.
5-year-old boy. And I'm talking about almost 30 years ago. So, where did he get that from? Because we'll sit down in the living room on Saturday morning, we're expecting breakfast, we are reading newspaper.
Okay, 12 minutes past 10 from the Dailies on Solutions 93.9 FM. Talking about discussing trending stories on the papers this morning. And another one, which I said we'll have time to talk about, the dollar for petrol. And on the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have this one saying, dollar for petrol, marketers protest, Dangote exports fuel to US others. Page 21 has that story.
Yes, the very first thing I want to put out here is that this transaction, the naira for crude,
dollar for petrol,
and it started with so that's why we have this stability. Naira for crude, arranged by Zach DDG committee and all of that. I have it on good authority. I think it's 5 million.
Before you do, I think we need to explain what naira for crude means.
Okay.
To Nigerians.
Okay.
Listening.
Because of the fact that one of the determinant factors of the PMS pump price is the price of crude oil, which is in US dollars. And it could be sold in the spot market for $70 today, depending on the, what happens in the international space, could jump to $75, $73 the following morning. And that is a factor that determines. So to have stability, then the government said the best thing to do is NNPC. Let's have the sale in naira to provide stability, and then to relieve pressure on the demand for US dollars. That's supposed to be one of the gains of having local refineries operating, especially Dangote coming on stream. Now, so that one took a while. They now reached that destination. That provided stability. There was no pressure. At least some pressure was taken off the demand for the US dollar. But, my dear brother, the records are there. People can check. I mean, there is no secret. About 85 million barrels or so that was supposedly supplied to Dangote, nothing less than 65% or 70% of it was eventually bought in US dollars. Because they were... Don't forget that when they say Nigeria is producing 10 million barrels per day, it is not Nigeria alone, no. Joint venture, the JV partners. Nigeria NNPC does not have any... they're usually JV, the IOCs and NNPC. And then, of course, the other companies too, that have licenses that are producing. All of this thing does not belong to Nigeria now. I mean, that Nigeria is just pocketing it.
Pocketing everything.
So, and then Nigeria has committed its own crude oil, borrowed money.
For servicing debt.
Billions of dollars that they borrowed for crude that was still under the ground. Now, NNPC people told me that they were taken aback and they felt blindsided by the reduction of the first and initial reduction of price of PMS by Dangote. And they had done 2 or 3 other reductions after that. They felt blindsided and they had no choice to cut their own price too. Meanwhile, the Port Harcourt and Warri refineries are not producing PMS. And I mean producing directly. Because there's a process. They are producing only naphtha. Then they will use to blend. And that's a process that means their distillation, they call it CDU, crude distillation unit, is not working way down or way up. So that's the problem there. So they cannot match Dangote. They can't match Dangote. So they thought Dangote blindsided them. And the man told me that marketers in Nigeria are a burden. If you check how much dollars they are using to import products now into this country, you'll be shocked. But Dangote is doing business globally now. Because Dangote borrowed money.
And it needs to make his money back.
And he's going to make his money back. So, and he's making his money back. He's even supplying the United States aviation fuel now, which is supposed to impact positively on the price of tickets in the United States. You understand? So the man is just all over West Africa, Central Africa. And so, what is NNPC doing? They should tell us. They are not producing PMS. Let them come and tell. So, this naira for crude thing now, they now say they are going to buy, they are not going to buy in, this is now a threat. This is, I suspect, to force the hand of the government to continue with the crude
importation,
crude swap in naira, because the man says he's going to be selling in dollars if they're going to stop the supply of crude, because he's importing crude and he's buying in dollars. So why should he sell to? Why should he not?
So what will be the ripple effect?
The man says he's going to be selling in dollars. dollar for petrol.
Which in turn will...
A liter of petrol could be how many cents? A liter. They sell in gallons in the United States. So you sell in gallons based on what you buy. And then you convert to naira. And that will be at the exchange rate of the dollar to the naira. And that will definitely shoot up the price of PMS. Yeah, can the government afford that to happen?
Well, time will tell. Let's go on this commercial break. We'll be right back. It's still from the Dailies on Solutions at 93.9 FM.
True strength. What defines it? The brilliance of a player, or when a team comes together to win. A solo beat, or the rhythm of many. The flair of one dancer, or the art of a troupe. One distinct voice, or the beauty of the symphony. At FCMB Group, we build ecosystems, empower communities, and create the future. Because we believe it's not just one, but the power of the group that delivers the future we all desire. FCMB, the power of the group.
Time check 10:19 on Solutions FM. It's still from the Dailies. Let's take two more stories before we wrap things up on the program this morning. Now, let's go to Rivers State. And ever since the state of emergency had been declared in that state, a lot of people have been reacting, so many reactions. But now, the organized labor has threatened a nationwide strike over Rivers' political crisis, as put by the Guardian newspaper. Organized labor threatens nationwide strike over Rivers' political crisis. And on another newspaper, I think it's the Nigerian Tribune, labor threatens action if Rivers' emergency rule is not reversed. Do you see this threat being attended to by the concerned authorities?
That's
organized labor calling for a reversal in that decision. And looking at the antecedents of the organized labor and the federal government in recent times with the threats.
You see, that's a worrisome one, you know. It's a worrisome one. And if the organized labor, this time around the TUC and the NLC, if the issuing that threat alone is bad enough. But you see, I would have thought that you will go to court. You understand? Because it's going to compound the situation. You start going on strike and all of that.
Well, we already have some people going to court. We have the PDP governors going to court.
Yes, voters
we
going
have
to court.
Going to
and
court.
voters in Rivers too
going to court.
So I don't think you see, I mean, something unconstitutional. What you call it an infraction? You understand? If there is an infraction on the Constitution, you go to court. You understand? You don't threaten strike. You don't threaten strike. You go to court, because I find that quite curiosity. I mean, why should you threaten strike? If you think there is a constitutional infraction, you go to court. And I saw that the administrator of Rivers is being addressed as His Excellency.
Yes.
Why?
Well, he's sitting and is in control. Let me put it that way.
And why is it? You see, let me tell you something about bureaucrats. Bureaucracy. They will have surrounded and enveloped the man now. It's a terrain where he does not know. Rivers State. He's not even from Rivers anyway.
He's from, I think,
Akwa Ibom.
Akwa Ibom, yeah.
So he does not know Rivers. So, and they give you power to go and administer the place. I love bureaucrats for that. They will have capture the man now.
He's already making appointments. He has is about to appoint the SSG, Secretary to the State Government, playing the roles of a governor.
You will be sure that he is not the one making those appointments.
So who is making the appointments?
That he is being guided.
Who is making those appointments?
He is being guided. That's
by
what
who?
He is being guided.
What they call him, the sole administrator. Sole administrator.
The whole thing is a spectacle, you know. Sole administrator. He will be, okay, so will he appoint commissioners now?
Well, it's just barely a week in office, so
where will he get?
If he's making appointment, if he has appointed SSG. In fact, there was something I read somewhere that there are plans in the way to appoint local government caretaker chairman.
So where will he appoint them from? You see, they are just compounding the problem in that location. People will be scrambling now, you understand, to reach the principal guys in the presidency that are their men and put this one there. In order to secure an advance. Yes, slot.
That's they call it.
And the essence is to grab the levers of power and to manage and tilt things in their favor. So that you never know what's going to happen. You never know whether this guy's thing will be. I ask myself, and I think I've asked, we have 2+ years. May will make it 2 years. So, for the man to stay in that office, they will have to do 3 renewals. 3 renewals. So, will this man stay there for 3 renewals, 2.5 years, to ensure that he's there when elections hold? Or will they bring Fubara back? And maybe after a year or something, they say, okay, let's reinstate.
Wait, do you see the 6 months getting an extension?
It will.
Initial 6 months.
It will. Look, and then I'm thinking post-military administrator, what do they call it?
What makes you think it will get an extension?
6 months, okay. It will get an extension. Now, when I'm thinking post-administrator, they will now bring, what do they call it, Fubara, and then you reinstate those institutions. So, what will be the situation there? Then the constitutional processes will go on. We're just going to revert. You see, when you want to take an action, you have to think of what it will generate. Or else, Tinubu will be compelled to keep this man there until election 2027. Would that be justifiable?
Talking about retired Vice Admiral Aibas, in his inaugural speech nationwide, statewide broadcast, he said that one of his primary reasons for being there is to put an end to to settle the tussle between the aggrieved parties. Do you see him being able to single-handedly put Fubara and Wike in order?
If security, they say the reason why they said this order and law and order was going to break down. Are you seeing the man imposing law and order? Is inspecting project of House of Assembly? Is that part of restoring law and order? He's appointing SSG. Is that part of the first place he went was the House of Assembly? Construction. Is that part of restoring law and order? He said that. He said in his speech. The president also said it. You see, it's just to take control of the levers of governance and guide it in a way that it will favor whatever. Wike has lost out too.
Well, some Nigerians would beg to differ on that, saying Wike has lost
The
out.
president has taken control directly of the levers of governance.
The person that seems to be at loss now, I like the English. The person that seems to be at loss is Simi.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because he's Wike, who was let's say he is one of the key players in the.
Have you heard anything?
He's still whether he's talking about Rivers State or not, he's still the serving minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT.
Yeah.
Nothing has removed him.
Fubara remains the governor.
He remains the governor in. I don't want to use absentia.
In exile.
In suspend. Okay, governor in exile.
Well, because we determine whether this one is not an infraction. You see, he may not have a strength, you understand, even to secure party nomination again. I hope he will be smart enough if he comes back, not even to try to, run for a second time, because which party? The structure, the struggle is still on. Even if he wins the party nomination, even PDP, because I think there's a contest for the party, because the one court has said the congresses and so they did in the South was illegal. So even if he gets nomination of the PDP, I mean, you need to get the votes. I don't think he has capacity for that. So if the man comes back now, they cannot sustain this military administrator in office for 2.5, 3 more renewals now. Or else people are going to say, what is it? And then you say you lift the suspension. Fubara comes back. The House comes back. Will they not revert to their hardline position? Then you just pick up the gauntlet again. So you see, those who imposed this suspension and emergency, they are not thinking of post-emergency. They are not thinking properly.
Okay.
What would the scenario that we emerge? Will they sustain he back in office for another 2.5 years? 3 renewals?
He might likely get renewals.
Up to 2027.
Time will tell. All right, comrade, thank you very much for being a part of the program this morning.
My pleasure. Riding with you always.
All right. From the Dailies, we'll make a return same time tomorrow morning. Thank
God's
you very
grace.
much for always making us your number one. My name is Adi Damala Lafewa. Good morning.
The views and opinions expressed in this live broadcast are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the editorial policy of Solutions 93.9 FM.
Right now is go back, way back. Bringing the groove. I want to dedicate this to those who never made it. From kindergarten to the 12th, I never graduated. But college was it for some of us, so we joined the service. I seen a